is 2 in the morning again. And last time I made one of these videos, it was 2 in the morning when Reason 10 came out, if you can believe it. Reason Plus has been announced, and they finally released a teaser video talking about what it is. This is sort of unfiltered, first opinion. For anybody who doesn't know, go look at the video. But for anybody who doesn't know, subscription, just like we thought it was going to be, subscription based. And that's it. It's Reason, but you pay $10 a month for it. I don't know if it is a monthly or if it's annual only. Like, and then they say it's monthly. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it's coming out, and my opinion is fine. I mean, honestly, I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset like I was with Reason 10. Because here's the thing with Reason 10, and I'm not going to go back into all of that, but just with Reason 10, they were trying to say, oh, this is a whole new product, and we're going to sell the upgrade price and look at all the things you get, and it felt like a trick. But with this, it's $10 a month for Reason, and every Reason extension, rack extension that they themselves, Reason Studios, has ever made. And they've got this little thing where it's kind of splicey, not really spliced, but it's sort of trying to be like arcade, where, you know, they're curated sounds that work in the Reason ecosystem. And, you know, that's a good idea. I think Reason Studios is allowed to have good ideas. And the only reason why I was, you know the joke. Anyway, what I will say is that back when I complained about Reason 10, my biggest frustration is that they, like I said, they were passing it off as something, and in my opinion, it was not something that should have been considered a whole new product. But with this, what I will say is that this is a way, because none of us really had a great way to explain it. I mean, to have them make more money in order to develop the features that we wanted. So we wanted those the automation curves. I wanted to have the transient. I want a way to be able to not be embarrassed when I bring a client in and I'm like, I'm using Reason, and they're like, what's that? And then I show them this massive rack of things I'm trying to like sort through and try to find what I'm looking for and everything quickly. It's like, oh, can you adjust I don't know where that is. Like, no. For me, I'd like to have a way to separate myself from the rack. Even though the rack is fun, even though the rack is cool, even though the rack, sometimes there are really good reasons to have the rack where, you know, I need to use a Spider Audio merger to throw this into this and this. But I want to pull this out to do this, you know, whatever. I don't know why I turned into Jeff Goldblum there. But that's what I would like to see from them, you know, moving forward in the way of the DAW. But none of us, when I said that, I don't believe any of us had a really great way of saying, this is the way that you get that money. Because if they can only work with what they have, and then they have not a lot of money, and then they develop what they can develop, what's easiest to develop, which is a couple of new rack extensions and a couple of little features, I mean, tiny little features. They can't do a whole redesign. At least with this, if people support Reason Plus, if they support it, then they'll have enough money to be able to put more time and effort into potentially in Reason 12, seeing a way to where we can walk away from the rack if we decide to and have it look more like Reaper or Cubase or Pro Tools or one of those things with the way that the plugins are, to where there's a reason for you to come back to Reason. Because I'll tell you, I used Reason for years, and I finally I quit. I was like, I'll do it for all my arranging. Still, I don't even care what anybody says. Programming in MIDI in Reason is awesome. Their quantization engine is beyond compare. There are some really cool sounds even now still in Reason. I love the Europa. I love a lot of the new sounds that they included in some of the later iterations of Reason. But one of my biggest issues is you can't step away from the rack. That's like the biggest issue. Is that, in my opinion, that it's like you cannot step away from the rack if you want to and still stay in the Reason ecosystem. If that happened, I would have been much more likely to not just only do my arranging in Reason and then move to Cubase to do basically everything else. You know, it's like VST3, still a thorn in our side, and I hate that, but here's the thing. At this point, if we all decide to say, you know what? I'm going to give Reason Plus a chance. And then we all pay for it, continue paying for it, and then they finally get that revenue stream in. Then they might be able to actually have the capital. Because honestly, I'm not some sort of marketing expert, but even I can see that it's like, yeah, guys, like when people are frustrated, like you put out, oh, this is what Reason 10 is, and it's like, and then we look at it, we're like, I'm not buying that. Why would I buy that? And then we don't buy it. Then they're like, oh, well, that was all we could make. Now they're not going to come out and say that, but I think in a lot of ways they said that's all we could make. We could make more if we had more money, if more people bought into it. So at least with this, it's sort of the last big thing in order to get anybody who was sort of on the fence, or people that were like, oh, well, I'm in Ableton, I don't really want to go into a whole new ecosystem, you know, for $320 or whatever it is for the full version. It's like, you know, I don't really want to. This is good. If they make it monthly, cancel anytime. They have to make it monthly, cancel anytime. That is what Arcade does, to my knowledge. Splice definitely does that. Most companies say cancel anytime. Do not lock people into an annual subscription. Do not lock them in to an annual subscription unless they choose to do it. Please. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Also, one thing I think they should do is say anybody who owns Reason, in my opinion, anybody who owns Reason already, like past 6 or something, I think potentially what would be cool is you get it for a discount. Because you've got a perfectly good, I have a shiny new version of Reason 11. What do I need Reason Plus for? Unless there's some big changes to Reason that I don't know about that they didn't say in the little teaser video that happened an hour ago. I mean, the live stream will happen and we'll be able to see it, but that's my thing. And it's like you gotta cater to the diehards, because those are the people you have to please. And then this will allow new people who would never have experimented even with Reason because of how expensive it is. This allows them to get their foot in the door and sort of explore a whole new way of thinking about like plugins and synthesis and stuff. Because really, in my opinion, like especially for synthesis stuff, Reason is second to none. There are others that like if you get a synthesizer that's, you know, like, I mean, some people are like serum junkies, some people it's like, you know, whatever it is, whatever the, you know, the synth du jour is, there are people that like those for, you know, for being able to hook in a cable of a CV, put it into another CV in, and be able to, you know, have a visual representation of an oscillator with pulsar, you know, like, you know, being able to do stuff like that, you know, is really cool, and it's what Reason really excels at. So, bringing people into the ecosystem will be really important for Reason Studios. But I gotta say, I'm not mad. They're not passing this off as some new product. It's no, you just get all of the rack extensions we've ever made. New ones are coming out all the time. Like, I mean, in my opinion, you know, yeah, a lot of them are outdated, and then trying to inject new sounds into it, that's when they have a problem. Is that then they say, it's like, oh, what's Reason 9? We added a bunch of sounds. That's what happened. I don't know if you remember that, but we added not just some sounds. We added like a lot of sounds. No. That's not new software. That's a sound pack. If we wanted to buy a sound pack, you should have sold the sound pack for $30. You shouldn't tell us that it's a whole new program, you know. Which you could make the case, well, they didn't say it was a new program, but that's just sort of how the Reason does it. Well, nah, don't do that. Can you imagine if Cubase did that? It's like, oh yeah, we added 3 new instruments to the Halion sampler. People would lose their frickin' minds if they did that. But we've been conditioned to allow that. So I think Reason Studios is doing an excellent job at this, in my opinion. I still want a way to move away from the mix, away from the rack, if possible. I still want potentially, other console emulations besides the SSL. I know that there's not really like a sound emulation specifically with the SSL that's in there, but it would be cool. Can you imagine if you could swap it out for a Neve or swap it out for I don't know, a Midas board or whatever it is? It'd be cool if you could do stuff like that. So those are some of the things that I'd still like to see them do and have Reason grow up in the way of a DAW, because no one else is doing it like that. And they're not doing it like that for a reason, because trying to do mixing in Reason is really, really difficult. I mean, it just is, and standard processing things and stuff like that, and the pre-calculational silliness and all that stuff. No VSD3, no. But, like I said, we should be positive. I think everyone should be positive with this. They did a good job with this. I don't think we should all get upset and mad about it and throw in the towel. Like I said, I want them to convince me during the live stream that there is a point to me who owns goo gobs of rack extensions, the full version of Reason 11, legit. Convince me I should do that. Because my idea of, well, it'll give them the money to be able to do other things that I want, that's just my own ideology. That's not actually what they're doing. I mean, you can, say that's what's going to happen, but... Or they don't, or they just put more sounds in. So, and I gotta show you this. Okay. So, my last video, I hated on an instrument that they made. And gosh darn it, what you look at, you may have seen the box, what my wonderful sister bought for me for Christmas. It's a kalimba. So, hashtag love kalimba, Reason Studios. You did a good job. Now keep it up. We're counting on you. Take care.